If my boyfriend buys a home and doesn't put my name on it, he doesn't love me. This is a private message sent to me by one of my few female followers. What kind of logic is this? I can understand sisters wanting the man to have a house when getting married. But what's really puzzling is, why do so many girls insist that when the man buys a house, he must put her name on the deed? Some are even more extreme. They demand that only the woman's name be on it, and they don't plan to contribute a single cent. If the man doesn't agree, it means he doesn't love her and she won't marry him. But do you realize that for an average family to buy a house, it might cost several $100,000 or even over $1 million? That could be the life savings of an entire family, saved up through years of frugality. The parents are willing to buy the house for their son, so if they don't put your name on it, I think that's completely normal because you haven't contributed anything substantial, and it really doesn't have much to do with you. If you feel wronged, you can also have your parents buy you a house before marriage. There's nothing illegal about that, you know? You're getting married for your husband, so you should trust the man you've chosen. If you don't trust him, then honestly, there's no point in getting married at all. Just think about it. If your parents were buying a house for your brother's marriage and the other side demanded to have their name added, would your parents agree? Put yourself in their shoes and try to see things from their perspective. Don't you think such a request is quite unreasonable? You want to talk about your parents? Sure, it's definitely not easy to raise a child, but for the groom's side, raising a son isn't as simple as just watering a plant and watching him grow up, is it? I still stand by what I said. When it comes to marriage, you can be selective, but you can't force things. In real life, there are plenty of couples who start from scratch without a house and still manage to achieve everything together through their joint efforts. To me, that's what real security is. For a true couple, even if there are conflicts in the future and they want to divide the property, I think that's perfectly reasonable. Whatever we get, we can accept with a clear conscience. Actually, a lot of the time, the more you fuss over these things, the less others want to give them to you. If you genuinely want to build a life together, respect your in-laws, and love your husband, then they'll truly be willing to give you anything from the bottom of their hearts. Now, if you're marrying a man in his 60s or 70s and you're worried he might pass away suddenly and leave you unprotected, it's understandable if you want a house for security. But in most cases, we're all people of the same age. If you start scheming right at the beginning of your marriage, how can you expect to have a good life together? Only those with questionable intentions would be fixated on someone else's house. Everyone wants to marry someone wealthy, but we also need to take a good look at what we ourselves have to offer. The social status of women has once again been upended. Adding a woman's name to the property deed, now that no longer has any effect, starting from February 1st, 2025.
The second judicial interpretation of the Marriage and Family Affairs of the Civil Code came out of nowhere, covering marriage in just 21 articles. Trust me, this time it will definitely overturn your understanding of wealth in marriage. Low-quality men and women should stop taking advantage of young girls and boys. I advise you to hurry up and find another way out. In the past, adding a name to the property deed after marriage basically meant getting half of the house. It was a solid guarantee of wealth. But now, adding a name is nothing but empty joy. The house still belongs to whoever it originally belonged to. And what's even more jaw-dropping, in the past, when parents bought a house and put it under the couple's names, it was automatically considered a sweet gift to the newlyweds. But now, with the new rules set in stone, whichever family pays for the house, the property belongs to that family. This rule is undoubtedly like putting a golden shield on the side with stronger financial power. Ladies, marriage is no longer your safe haven. The name on the property deed is no longer a secret code to wealth either. Without financial strength to back you up, when it comes to divorce, you're left with nothing. You'll walk away empty-handed, and men don't think the threshold for marriage has gotten any lower. To be honest, women these days are truly sharp-eyed. Not only do they look at your personal qualities, but even more so at how much real money you can actually put on the table. From now on, if you want to get married and expect the woman to just agree easily to the man buying a house or the woman buying a car, that's going to be tough. This new regulation has triggered a financial earthquake in marriage, and it's reshaping the entire concept of marriage and the structure of family finances. From now on, you'll have to wash your own clothes. Why should I do it? Why should I even care? The latest developments in marriage law regarding marital property say that whoever's name is on it, it belongs to them. What's yours is yours, and what's mine is mine.
Who bought this house? When you get divorced, it belongs to that person. Even if my name is on the deed, it doesn't matter. Even if my name is on the registration and your parents paid for the house, if we divorce, I wouldn't get anything. That's why in the future, there's no such thing as men working outside and women managing the home. The law doesn't care how much housework I've done, how many years I've worked, or my contributions or the kids. Legally, only the party with the property is protected. So even if you have more money in the future, if I divorce you, I won't get anything. Since I read this marriage law, I've lost all motivation to do anything. I can't mop, do laundry, or take care of the kids. Do you think no one would pay me for doing all this work? If I went out to be a nanny, I could easily make 5 or 6,000 a month. Right now, I don't have a job or any income, so no matter how much I do, it's all for nothing. So from now on, don't complain about me slacking off. You take care of the kids yourself, cook your own meals, and wash your own clothes. He said that's the king of soccer. Even if you just play, you can still make 8,000. Even the cars you park aren't yours, right? The new marriage law encourages women to be independent and not to covet houses, cars, or money that aren't theirs. What belongs to your family isn't yours, and what belongs to your husband's family is even less yours. Only what you earn is truly yours. Some netizens say, if you have to rely on yourself for everything, why should women have children, do laundry, or cook for their husbands? Why serve his family? People say with the new marriage law, probably 99% of men won't find a wife.
With the introduction of the new marriage law, women are forced to re-examine their views on marriage. The old belief that it's better to marry well than to be born well is now a thing of the past. So what do women seek in marriage now? Some women give up job opportunities to take care of the elderly and children for the sake of the family, but in the end they get no share of the house or the assets. So what is the purpose of marriage for women? In an era where there are more men than women, the new marriage law has been introduced. And no matter how much women contribute to the family, it doesn't really matter. You earn your own money and spend it yourself. After getting married, will there still be women who choose to be housewives? I don't think so. Some people say that since you can't rely on the other person's assets, the only thing you can rely on is yourself. And also the life experience you bring to others. Is the man good looking? Is his emotional intelligence and IQ high? Can he improve the genes of the next generation? Is he capable? How does he handle things? Is he clean? Can he do housework? Do your values align? Is he healthy? Can he be gentle, considerate, and emotionally stable? Women are now looking to you for economic security. Then all that's left to value is your personal qualities. Otherwise, why should a good woman come and bear children for you for free? Why should she take care of your parents, work as a free maid in your home, and even have the children take your surname? With the divorce rate so high nowadays, if you get divorced, she can't go back to her own family, nor to her in-laws, and she has no source of income. How is she supposed to survive? Who knows which idiot came up with this? Now the marriage law protects men's assets, but who's protecting women's security? Women have no protection at all. If you're unlucky and end up with a domestic abuser like Xiaoxi did, not only is your livelihood unprotected, even your life isn't guaranteed. In that case, isn't marriage just a grave for women?
For a long time, marriage has been a trap, a transaction where women are accused of being greedy and men of being lustful. But from February 1st this year, everything changed. The latest judicial interpretation 2 of the marriage and family section of the Civil Code took effect on February 1st, and protection of women's economic rights within marriage has been greatly reduced. The era when marital property and real estate was split 50-50 after divorce is gone. Now, the main principle is that what belongs to whom stays with whom. As a result, women can no longer count on getting a share of the money, and for men, the threshold for getting what they want has also been raised. Why was such an adjustment made now? And what changes will this bring to society over the next 10 years? Today, let's take a deep dive into this topic. First of all, everyone needs to understand that all economic actions have political objectives, and all policies are closely tied to economic development. The decade from 2025 to 2035 is extremely critical for us. It's a period of gradually moving from an economic downturn toward recovery, and it's also the decade when the China-US rivalry enters a decisive phase. That's why at the beginning of 2025 we introduced a series of new adjustment measures. Among these measures is the reform of the marriage system. On a micro level, it may seem like we are encouraging women's independence, but from a macro perspective, the goal at this stage is that we need more people to create social value. Everyone, regardless of gender, needs to get moving. Some women, after seeing these changes, have started to complain bitterly, saying that women's contributions within the family are being denied. If I can earn my own money, then why would I need a man? You're right. If your intention in getting married is simply to exchange your ability to bear children for a man's lifelong support, then you might as well not get married at all. That way, you'll have no choice but to create social value in order to support yourself, and marriage will become a union between two people who are economically and personally independent, which is actually more conducive to long-term family stability. Even if a divorce happens, both parties can continue to create social value on their own. In this way, from a macro perspective, everyone's enthusiasm for participating in labor and the division of social roles is maximized. In other words, we are temporarily giving up on the quantity of marriages and instead starting to focus on their quality. In the past 20 years, our country has seen many housewives emerge. However, in the last 5 years, as many middle-class families have fallen into poverty, countless households have faced irreparable situations: a man in debt, a woman unable to work, and a poor child. To avoid repeating the same mistakes, we might as well make it clear to everyone at the institutional level that being a housewife is a high-risk occupation for women, and that women should also achieve financial independence. With this kind of adjustment, what changes will our society undergo in the next 10 years? First, the marriage rate will decline further, but the divorce rate will drop significantly because the threshold for marriage will be higher and its stability will increase. Second, due to the needs of children, families will still require someone to take on more responsibility for childcare, and this role will most likely still fall to women. However, this will actually give rise to a large number of women in their 30s who both take care of their children at home and build their careers from home through self-media, AI, or other internet-based platforms, creating a new generation of super individual women. Third, the criteria women use to choose a partner will change. Whether a man owns a car, a house, or comes from a good family background will no longer be the only standards women consider when choosing a spouse, because those things belong to you and will always be yours. In the future, all of that might have nothing to do with me. So on top of that, women will also value the man's personal qualities, such as emotional stability, good genes, and resources that I can make use of, and so on. Fourth, given the current gender ratio in our country, with more men than women, if more women give up their illusions about marriage, it will make the dating environment even harsher for average men, and the number of older single men will continue to rise. Speaking of this, I wonder if you've noticed, after this round of marriage system reforms, it's actually most men who will feel like the sky is falling in the next 10 years. And what about women? The women in the first group will feel that not being protected is a form of harm, while high-end women will feel that not being protected is actually the greatest protection.
So what do you think? In the future, no one will dare to get married anymore. You'll see. On February 1st, 2025, the new marriage law takes effect. The main focus is on marital property, protecting each party's individual assets. Family expenses related to women giving birth, raising and educating children will no longer receive special legal consideration. And whether your name is added to the property deed or not really has nothing to do with you anymore. Whoever bought the house will own it after a divorce, regardless of whether your name is on the deed. Your money is yours, and my money is mine. It's almost impossible now to try to change your fate by marrying into a better family. It doesn't matter how much housework you've done, how many children you've had, or if you gave up your career for the sake of your family and children. These are all considered your own unilateral sacrifice and dedication. This is purely the price of love. Having seen this, I don't know if any of you have something to say, but there are a few things I truly don't understand. Do couples still have the obligation to share debts and jointly support each other? Doesn't that make the marital relationship just a transactional one? Here, I want to say that I have no gender bias, nor am I being stubborn. For women, marriage just means finding someone to sleep with, having a child, and doing housework. I want to know, where does the financial support for life come from? If something goes wrong in the marriage, how do you handle the aftermath? I don't know if this new marriage law is good or not, but it will definitely lower the birth rate if things keep going this way. I think even the marriage registration offices might end up shutting down. Do you believe it? With this kind of protection over marital property, can we women even get married anymore?